have lots of Easter bonnets here this morning. So yay for all the hats. That's always fun to see. And we invite everybody to stay after for some meet and greet. And then we will also be having the breaking bread where we talk about the message afterwards. So be sure and stay for that. And if you're with us online for the first time or second time, if you'd like information about all the activities going on, go to unityofpayson.org and leave us your contact information, and Terry sends out the Monday e-newsletter with everything going on. So don't miss out on that. And so once again, we warmly welcome everybody, and together let's say our affirmation. We love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. Yes, we do. And on to gratitudes. So we're grateful for everybody that supports our community and for the activities that have gone on this week. We usually have lots of things going on, pretty much every day of the week. So we have morning cafe in the mornings. We have Qigong and Tai Chi with Teresa. We have organic gardening with Ram down in Geisela. We have the Course in Miracles, and I believe that was on Tuesday. And then, of course, we had the Ecumenical Good Friday and Easter services, the sunrise Easter service. I know that Rev Neal already was at earlier this morning. So we're thankful for all the activities, and most of these events are on Zoom, so we're thankful for the technology that lets us do hybrid like this. So if anybody has a personal gratitude they'd like to speak this morning, if you can raise your hand, and if you're online, if you can raise your hand, and you can unmute and give your gratitude. So Sylvia, go ahead.
Hi, I am grateful that after 10 months of intensive study, that I finished my training and got my coach certification.
Yay. So Sylvia, for any of you that didn't hear that online, Sylvia has been doing a life coaching program, and she got her certification. So congratulations to that. And online, we also, Frosty says, I'm thankful for Unity of Payson. So anybody else in person here with a gratitude? Anne Marie.
Okay, I just wanted to thank everybody for their support while I'm healing, and the wonderful outreach of friends. This has been very monumental to me. Thank you so kindly.
Thanks, Anne Marie. And we do a really good job of supporting each other when any of us has a challenge. So gratitude for that.
One more from me.
Okay.
I am grateful for this community of Payson. It's a marvelous community. We find some things that we don't like about parks, but many things that we do. And I've been blessed to be able to be a part of several activities that are out into the community this last week. And I am grateful for the Payson community.
Yeah, there has been some really wonderful response to the Kindness Project. And pretty much all the churches that we've spoken to, they're all on board, other civic groups. So it's spreading, people. And we have our theme for the month is life. And the affirmation, let's say it together. I claim divine vitality and am daily enlivened by spirit. I am life. And our speaker today is our own Reverend Neal, and his talk title is The Will Was Written in My Favor. And our daily word, of course, it's Easter. So let's say this affirmation together. I am resurrected through the power of the Christ. On this glorious Easter day, I am resurrected and brimming with new life. The stones of defeat and limitation have rolled away. I am free and unlimited. Throughout my Lenten journey, I heeded the call from my soul to recognize the stones in my consciousness and awaken to the infinite potential within me. I can now rejoice in the shimmering light of awareness with an open, joyful heart. My faith is strong, and I am ablaze with the radiance of spirit. I welcome eternal, indwelling life into my mind and heart. Hope never dies. Jesus transcended death and demonstrated life is eternal. With a grateful heart, I rise up and claim new life. I am resurrected through the indwelling Christ. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new beginning. I have risen. And from John, I am the resurrection and the life. And I think the energy on the whole planet lately is about examining, looking at, letting go of, and allowing in that new life. And so now we have our message from Rev Neal.
The will was written in my favor. That's the title I chose for today. And as we go along, you'll see how that unveils. But it's Easter time. The scripture, I am the resurrection and the life. And that is true for us. I got an Easter message on my text. Just, was it yesterday or the day before? And the sender told me that she didn't necessarily call it Easter, she called it Resurrection Day. I like that a lot. And I'm going to share what she wrote to me. I hope she doesn't mind, because she went on to really develop truth in a new way. Here's what, and by the way, this is one of our members, Gaia, who is not able to be here today, but here's what Gaia says about Easter. I believe that the one and the same power or energy that brought Jesus out of the finality of death is available to each of us to rise again. All we need to do is overcome any firmly held belief that something is impossible. So this is a great season for reviving old notions of what's possible with faith, believing it is done already. Amen. I like that message. I wish I'd get more text messages like that. Anyway, today, the will was written in my favor. I picked a key spiritual truth, as I usually do. And it follows right along with the daily word and all we're going to say today. I am the resurrection and the life. Life abundant is mine to claim. I am the resurrection and the life. Life abundant is mine to claim. You know, the truth of Jesus' resurrection, the truth for us is not, maybe not so much in the physical story, because there's some debate about exactly how that may have come down to us, but in the truth underlying it. That's what we talk about when we talk about metaphysical understanding. Go beyond the physical. Go to the underlying truth that's there for all of us, one that resonates with our core of our being. Resurrection itself is not new to Christianity. Bodily resurrection is celebrated by the Jewish community, the Muslim community, and the Christian community as well. And also, there are many of the Eastern religions that had a practice that said that this life is not all there is. This physical life here and now is not all there is. There's a resurrection waiting to occur for all of us into new life and a new purpose. And that's what we'll talk about today. We're going to talk about the legacy that we have, the will itself, and of course the inheritance. Those are the processes. And you've probably been through a will of some sort, or at least you've observed somebody else going through that will and the reading of the will, and you know about the legacy, you know about the will itself, that legal document, and you know about the inheritance. Hopefully you were part of the ones who inherited. So, First, the legacy. Now, the legacy from a spiritual perspective that we have relates to a couple words that can be pretty mystifying. So I'm going to try to break it down and make it really easy. The first of those words is substance. We know that the substance, that intelligent, creative, thinking stuff, is the beginning of all that appears in form. That's substance, but I've put it together in just a very few words. I'm calling it unlimited, intelligent, and creative stuff. So around us, what is the genesis for everything is intelligence, it's creative, and it's there, available to us. That's part of the legacy. We'll get to how we access that legacy. So substance. And then the other thing is source. And we talk about source maybe a little more easily because some of us use source as the word that we would use instead of using the word God. But I'm going to try to put that in very few words. I'm going to call that the divine distribution authority. So here we have all of this substance, that's intelligent stuff from which everything is formed, and source is the divine distribution authority. You got that? I want you to remember this because source and substance are a little tricky. You got them? I want to see some heads nodding. Okay, I got it. Source and substance. Now, experiencing that source and substance is probably something that you've experienced. I know I have, but I didn't know I was experiencing it at the time. Just want to share a couple of examples from my life. In my life, there's been times when I was kind of literally at the end of my rope in terms of sustenance. There didn't seem to be any substance there from which I could form something. And I wasn't sure about the source of where it was going to come from. Told you one of the stories, I think, before, if you've been here, about how these seem to happen all over the world. One of them happened in Colombo, Sri Lanka. When I arrived there, thought I was staying briefly, found out I had to stay longer, and had only a very little bit to secure a bed for the night. And you know, it was marvelous the way that was provided for. Won't go on to tell you all of the story, but it happened by a chance meeting on the street. I remember also a time when I was going to Guatemala. This is back in my college days. I got delayed at the border for a couple of days and finally got down through Mexico to Guatemala, and just a few kilometers short of, and I was going with a friend, short of our arrival, we had only enough money for a little chuchito, a little piece of cornmeal with a little bit of meat inside of it. But we had enough. The substance was there. It appeared by a street vendor. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was experiencing substance and source. One more that I have. When I was even yet a little younger than that, in college, I had an opportunity to go to the British Isles on a tour. I went by boat. It was a wonderful little cruise, and came back by boat. And coming back, we arrived in Montreal. It was the time of the Expo in Montreal. Anybody old enough to know about that Expo in Montreal? I see some hands here. And of course, had to take that Montreal Expo, and did. And then go back to home, which was in New York State, not terribly far. Somehow, I made it to Niagara Falls and the Peace Bridge. Everybody, who's walked that Peace Bridge at Niagara Falls? I don't see any hands. Come on, you got to go to Niagara Falls. Floyd, thank you. That Peace Bridge. On that Peace Bridge, I had simply a nickel in my pocket. nothing more. But all that I needed had been provided and brought me to this place, source and substance at work for me. The same is true for each of us, that intelligent, creative stuff is there waiting for us to knock on the door of the agent that is source, the agent that's going to distribute that and allow it to come into our lives. All that we need, but more than that, even all that our hearts desire. We just haven't learned all the time yet to appropriate that. And we're going to try to put some ideas out about how to do that. That's the legacy. Amazing, unlimited, the legacy. And then we get to the will. Well, you know about wills. They're a legal document. Every last little detail is put down. Well, the will is written in our favor. It's written according to something that we might call a legal framework. These are the universal laws that are there. Now, universal laws can be tricky because if you're looking at different authors, you might find 50 of them that are universal laws. But you might find some that really resonate with the truth of you as well. I'm going to suggest just a few of those. The ones that I thought of particularly was the law of supply, the idea that supply is always available, that substance that we were talking about, the law of attraction. You've heard of the law of attraction. We also call it in Unity the law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. The law of giving and receiving. We talk about it every Sunday. Freely we give, and freely we receive. That cycle of giving and receiving. The law of increase. The idea that everything is constantly expanding is the very nature of all that is to increase. We don't take advantage of that law as much as we might. And finally, the law of intention and desire. For a while, we had a group here called the Intenders Group. Marianne got us started on that. And that Intenders Group was the idea of holding in mind what we really had a desire for, and holding it and holding it and holding it and affirming in each other that desire, because it's there in the legacy, that desire would be ours. And the will was written in those ways in line with those particular laws. But the necessary thing for us to do is to work with the law, not against it. To be actively working with the law. There's a wonderful book by a New Thought author, Raymond Hollowell, Working with the Law, and he cites several laws and gives a lot of practical ideas with regard to working with that law. It's the idea of our individual will, and of course we have a will, working with divine will, working with it, not in contrary fashion. Now, in a legal document of a will, there are often stipulations. This has to happen before the money is given, something of that nature. Well, us working with the law is the stipulation, working with those universal laws that resonate with the core of our being. Those stipulations are work with it. And so when we do, we are able to be the beneficiary of that will, because until we meet those stipulations, it doesn't happen. I watched a movie Donna and I did a time back called The Ultimate Gift. The Ultimate Gift was the story of, was it Ray or Roy? Red Stevens. Red Stevens, a billionaire who was about to die, and so he put down in a video what his will would be. He had his grandson, Jason, who wasn't really on very good terms with his grandfather, and he'd expected nothing from that will. But Red Stevens wrote that will so that Jason, the one he chose, would be the heir of all of that fortune. However, in 1 year, there were 12 things, 12 assignments that he had to accomplish, all attached to a gift before that legacy, before that inheritance was imparted to him. Wonderful movie, if you have a chance to see it, The Ultimate Gift. And there's, I think, another one, The Ultimate Legacy. There's a couple of them that go along with that. So the problem is sometimes, most of the time maybe, that we don't work with that law. We don't meet the stipulations that are there. The stipulations are simple. They're not hard. They're not backbreaking. But we just don't do it. I remember Shakespeare from Hamlet saying something, hey, wisdom of Shakespeare. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, not in some God out there or billionaire who's going to bequeath us something, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. We don't measure up to the stipulations of the will when this magnificent inheritance is available to us. And then there's the inheritance. We had the legacy, the will, and the inheritance. You know, the thing about an inheritance is it has to be claimed. I may have the most crazy, amazing, unlimited inheritance in the world, but if I don't claim it, it doesn't do me any good. So claiming the inheritance is important. And, of course, that goes along with those stipulations, complying with the inheritance. But it's there. That substance is there. That dispensing authority is just ready to give it if we will just work with it. We can tap into that legacy. Now, when we're talking about the legacy from a spiritual point of view, it's unlimited. Absolutely unlimited. And it doesn't just happen for one person. It's not just you, Phyllis, or you, Scott, or you, Terry, that gets the inheritance. All of us do. Because that supply, that substance is unlimited, we can give an unlimited inheritance to everybody. And that's what the divine has in mind for us. That legacy can be tapped into by each and every one of us. Instead of there being a heaven down the road at a future time, you know what? The heaven is now. We have the capability of tapping into that inheritance. We claim it because that huge, unlimited legacy is ours. We have been designated in the will as the one to receive that, each and every one of us. So now we get down to that point, how do I do that? There are a number of things we could do, a number of directions we could go to do that, but I'm going to suggest just one simple thing. And Marianne, would you give out those handouts that I've got? And Tom, if you can put up the slide about, this is how do I do that? And thank you, Jenna, for helping too. So the key on how do I do is work with the law. Work with the legal requirement. Claim the inheritance. Meet its requirements. So I put on this handout and on the screen 5 of these laws that we're talking about. And how do you do that? I want you to take one of these laws, one that really connects with you. You may not connect with all of them at this point in time, but you probably connect with one of them more strongly. Which one calls to you? Which one of these, and I've given them a little bit of definition too. The law of supply. Divine supply is available to meet every need and heart's desire. The law of intention and desire. When we faithfully intend the fulfillment of our heart's desire, it comes to us. Law of attraction. Law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind produced after their kind. The law of giving and receiving. There is a cycle of giving and receiving. Freely we give, and freely we receive. And the law of increase. It is the nature of all things to increase. Which one of these calls to you? Okay? If you're going to work with the law, if you're going to access that inheritance, work with the law, you'll take that one that's calling to you, and this week you'll work with it. Oh, don't worry about the ideas. They'll be there. As you open yourself to Spirit, how to do that will come, and it'll be different for each one of you. So I'm not trying to give you, you do this, you do that. But I am giving you a little bit of an assignment. Work with the law. Because in working with the law, we experience life, abundant life, just like we're talking about today. We're going to come from that place of torpor, when we're not seeming very lively. And we're going to burst into life like the Easter story shows us. So I say, last week we told you to use this affirmation, I am life. Today I'm going to say, expand that and say, I am the resurrection and the life. I am the resurrection and the life. All that's there for me, I'm going to awaken from a deadliness, and I'm going to find that. I'm going to be aware of that. I'm going to work with that. I'm going to bring it to myself because it's there for me. Again, back to Gaia's thing. Resurrection Day. Every day can be Resurrection Day, not only Easter. So I challenge you to see the legacy, to know the will, to know those universal laws that help us to access that, and to claim the inheritance, perhaps in the ways we've suggested today. So let me give you that key spiritual truth. I am the resurrection and the life. Life abundant is mine to claim, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Neal. How often we forget to claim what is the ultimate possibility. Every dream fulfilled. Amazing. And now as we prepare for meditation, Phyllis once again is going to be supplying our wonderful music. And the title is For the Beauty of the Earth. And this will just be her playing. There will be no words, so that you can move into that quiet, meditative place.
Thank you, Phyllis. And in this quiet time, let us put aside every concern, even every idea, every plan, and just purely be here right now. As you experience the silence, remember that there's a intelligent stuff that's creative, that surrounds us, that fills all that is. So picture in your mind an idea as large as you possibly can think. Whether you're thinking a planetary system, a universe, a multiverse, or beyond, think of that large and as high as you can think of it. So is the legacy of the divine. The legacy waiting to be tapped into by each of us. Immense. Unlimited. Nothing is impossible. And then move on for a moment to consider what truth, what law is there, what spiritual directive is there that's mine to act on at this point in my life. What do I need to cooperate with? Because those spiritual laws are all designed to be a conduit for the legacy to come to us. Do you see that truth or that law? The one that's beckoning to you and saying, this is your time to apply this in your life. This is yours to work with. Then shift your vision a little bit and imagine as much as you can what that inheritance is going to look like for you. Remember, the legacy is unlimited. The law is there to work with to bring that to you. So what does that look like? Imagine in your mind, what does it look like for me to have a divine inheritance? What does it mean for me to live abundantly, to be resurrected from that lower state and to see things from a lofty point of view? And so as we go into the quiet, into the silence, take these things, the legacy, the will for us to work with, and the inheritance, and think on these things as we spend time in the silence. Have you pictured this? Have you opened your mind and heart to what it would look like for you to claim your divine inheritance? What it would look like for you to be lively, in fact, to be all of the life that was in the design for you. Don't leave it here in the silence. Bring it back with you. Let it simmer in you, let it work in you, and you work with it. And so as we bring our awareness back to this time and this place, we are grateful, immensely grateful for that inheritance that allows us to say, I am life. I am the resurrection and the life. So if you have your eyes closed, it's time to open them and to be back to this time and this place. Perhaps wiggle your fingers and your toes as you come back. And bring back with you the truth for you. And so it is.
So I hope that you all brought back visionings of what that abundance is for you. And now we have time for a demonstration of the law of giving and receiving, as it is time for our tithes and our offerings. So we greatly appreciate all of the gifts. And in a moment, we're going to be having another song by Phyllis. And online, the slides for giving will be shown. And let's see. I'm still in your meditation. Okay, so let's hold that beautiful idea of abundance that has just opened you up, and let's hold that in our offering and charge it up, your heart's desire, as we say our affirmation. Freely we give, and freely we receive. And here in person, we will be passing the basket. And online, you can go to unityofpayson.org and hit the donate button. And our song for today is Spring Has Now Unwrapped the Flowers.
Spring has now unwrapped the flowers, days fast reviving, life in all her glowing powers, towards the light is striving. Oh, the beauty fills, golden green, sing, flowers make me one, feels and set the stand. Each wonder of their days, my first lover's blessing. Beauty follows all our ways, as the so sweet, so sweet.
Okay, ladies, cords over here, so this way. And it is time for the dedication of offering. We want to charge this up as it supports our community and goes out into the larger community. And if you can say the affirmation with me. Divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all that we give, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous, and we give thanks. And so next Sunday, we continue on with our theme of life. And again, the affirmation, I claim divine vitality and am daily enlivened by spirit. I am life. L'chaim. For those of you who caught that connection. And our talk title by Rev Neal will be A Daily Dose of New Life. And now we have announcements, and of course we have our regular activities. I'll just briefly go through those. Of course, we have Morning Cafe Monday through Saturday at 9:30. Qigong and Tai Chi with Teresa Sunday and Wednesdays at 4:30. Highway Cleanup, and that's contact Neil to participate in that. Organic Gardening at Shanti Olmsted with Ram, and he's here in person if anybody wanted to talk to him about all the spring planting going on. And the Writers Group is monthly on the fourth Thursday from 4 to 5. And the next church potluck is the first Sunday, and so that'll be May 7th. So plan on making some goodies and be here for that. And so now we have a prayer chaplains meeting. Will be Saturday, April 15th from 11 until noon. That's always the third Saturday, and that's here in person. The book circle. Now, you really want to be sure that you have this book in advance. There's homework, there's stuff to do, doing your morning writing. It is called The Artist's Way, and it's a marvelous book. But it's not just for physical artists. It's a way to tap into your own spiritual energy through using creativity and in this case, the vehicle of writing. It's facilitated by Teresa Kelleher, and she always gives a great book group. It is 6 Thursdays from 1:30 to 2:45 in the afternoon, which, yay, works for me. And so that's April 20th, 27th, May 4th and 11th, and June 8th and 15th. And you'll notice they're spread out because of the amount of reading and kind of homework for it. It is the amount of homework that will cause the biggest shift in you. So, and it's on Zoom, and so it is going to be here also, and in person. So class space is limited. So if you're interested, be sure to sign up and email Teresa, tk.pacifica@gmail.com. And the book is available on Amazon. And next, we have a healing workshop. And I'm sure Neil will talk a little bit more about this. It'll be April 22nd from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. And it'll be divided into 3 sections, 3 different healing approaches. And it'll be here in person. And is that going to be a Zoom thing too? It won't quite work, so it will. All right. And so be sure to let Neil know if you plan to attend, because I'm sure for those in person, we will have limited space. So other than that, Neil?
Yes, let me just share a little bit more about that healing workshop. One of the things that we as prayer chaplains use as a tool for healing is something you've heard about a lot, affirmative prayer. But maybe you don't know as much about that as you'd like to know. I've had a request. Somebody asked me, How about a little more affirmative prayer? So we'll cover that. There'll be energetic healing, sound healing perhaps. I don't know all of the elements for that, but energy healing will be something we'll cover. And then we are going to take a look at Unity's healing booklet, which goes far beyond what we can cover in 1 hour, but it will give you a taste of Unity's approach, in addition to affirmative prayer, to the idea of healing. So don't miss it. Let me know. I really would like to know that you're planning to come, and we can plan accordingly. We may even get you a little information ahead of time. So, Betty?
Yeah, just
You
expound.
You expound.
Just a little bit for my portion of that workshop. I'm planning on having like 5-minute sections where whoever's here in person, we will actually be doing hands-on energy work on the person. So it'll be experiential as well as some information. So that's incentive.
As you can tell, that's not my part of it. Thank you to Betty. You got something else? Okay, so she might as well stay standing because we're at the time for closing our service. For those of you who are online, hang in here for a few minutes. We'll take just a short break, and then we'll come back and share together, maybe talk a little bit about the message and connect with each other. We call it Breaking Bread. And now it is time for the peace song. And of course, we have Phyllis to play for us.